Okay, so this wasn't really. So anyone who wants access to it, not anyone, I guess not everyone could get access to it, but many, many, many humans can gain access to it. You can either get it via Spotify, Apple Music, iTunes, Bandcamp, SoundCloud, YouTube, any of those things you can find it. Um, but yeah, it's release day. I don't I don't really have any intention of playing music unless it just organically goes that way. I'm mainly here to drink this with whoever shows up to this party. It's not really a party. Um, I'm going to, in my mind, call it a party, and I'm just gonna talk about the EP. Be easier if people asked questions about it, but I'm not gonna assume that anyone has questions about it, so I'll just chat about it. Those of you who are here and feel comfortable, can you let me know if you can hear me? Is the audio all right? I just did a live stream on Facebook. Well, I did three of them because it glitched out on Facebook. Probably. If it's every platform that does live streaming, probably weren't prepared for a pandemic. Who would have been? How are you all? I'm fine. Thanks for asking. Um, let's narrate how the day went. It feels like any other day, but not any other day. Feels like any other day in that I pretty much did the same things and will continue to do the same things. But I did try to build in some mini celebrations as markers. I don't know about you guys, but my personality, in who I am, I value having some sort of marker of shifts or change or accomplishments or anything to kind of say that season is done or this is what I've gleaned from it and where we can go on to, you know. So I think I felt a little stuck because all of the planning so that this thing could be released efficiently. Um, I tried to do all those things ahead of time so that it would go smoothly. But then this last week felt odd because it was just this, you know, there's just this gap of time where all I could do was wait. And there was nothing I could really do other than get ready to celebrate and find ways to celebrate reasonably by myself or with Ty. But Ty doesn't need celebrations the way I do. Um, hi, Sean. Do you mean lines are blurred like visually for this live stream? Or are you talking about lines are blurred between like in daily life right now? I think that's what you're talking about. Let me know in the comments. Yeah, I went and took a very, very long walk around our neighborhood into other people's neighborhoods and I plucked flowers and weeds and greenery, not from people's yards. So any sort of intentional garden I avoided. I didn't go in anyone's yards or if it was like on the outskirts, if it looked like they had planted it to be like their tulips, I didn't pluck those. Well, let's say like a church had a massive tree with flowers. I helped myself. Weeds in parks that were open, the slits of yard grass between the road and people's homes that they're technically in charge of taking care of, but it's not theirs. You know those? I pluck things from there. And I made myself a lepo'o. It's like that floral head piece of sorts, lei that you saw. Maybe you saw on Instagram. So that was my thing. I want to make a the lepo'o for my celebration. I bought this and I'm drinking it right now. I made myself a waffle this morning. These sound pretty ordinary, but they were very intentional. And my friend Holly got me these flowers back there. You see when she had them delivered? Yeah, and yeah, apart from that, everything else was just like all the setup was done ahead of time. So it's just a lot of sitting in it and seeing where it lands. But yeah, if you have a drink, and it can be water, I'm not encouraging anyone to become alcoholic, but cheers. Thanks for listening. Thanks for sticking around. I don't really know what I'm drinking. I mean, I know what I'm drinking, but I think I it's sparkling wine. That's why. Is all sparkling wine champagne? Is that a dumb question? I don't think that's a dumb question. It's not like I've been drinking since I've got out of the womb. Had to learn it. But for those EP, and if so, is there a track that stands out to you? I'll wait. This must be so uncomfortable on everyone else's end. I almost just accidentally tweeted someone. This could be so uncomfortable. Why did I do this? Oh, because I wanted to. It'll be good. I know what I can do. I can give a brief story because this is going to end up on my page. So I'd rather it not be me scrolling through Twitter, drinking. That's a different theme. I'll give a little snippet of every song. I actually didn't play through the EP tonight on the live stream on Facebook, and that was intentional because I'm saving. I would love to do that for that marker to be reserved for the May 9th release show that's going to be happening here on YouTube. Um, that's the show that Jacob Miller will play a solo set, Ryan Oxford will play a solo set, and then I will also. And then we're going to share a couple songs together, which will be fun. Hi, Jazz. Hi, Sean. Um, Originally, one of my prior to the pandemic, and this I could have done under the pandemic, I just deprioritized it because of other things. I had started doing I wanted to do like a SoundCloud series, and each track was me storing through a song. So I've done three. I did three of them right before I left for tour with Ila Bamba in what month is it? It was in February. Wow, time has passed. So yeah, before I left for tour, I did three of them. I just sat down. The goal was for it to be uh, as honest as possible, and that you could. So the goal is to be clear, to avoid a lot of ums and likes and hmm. It was to avoid like I didn't want to beat around the bush. Like if I had something to say, I wanted it to be said, and then just something that would give you insight to where that song came from, where it originated, without telling you that this is what the song has to be. Because there is a joy for me in people getting to experience a song for themselves and figure out how it can serve them. That being said, I started three, stopped it. I don't even know why. It was like on my I have lists daily. It was on like my daily list. Like, don't forget. I don't want to call it like storing through the EP. That's what I would put on my to do list. And I didn't finish it, but now that I'm saying it out loud, I feel like I ought to finish it, even if it's just to share, maybe on Patreon or put it up on SoundCloud and just let people go to it and return to it if they wanted it. But yeah, not assuming anyone or everyone wants to hear it. But I might do a little bit of it now. I'll do an abbreviated version of them. These won't be 20-minute stories for each song. Not every song has a 20-minute story. Some of them are like, this is this, and this is this. But the first track is Woman. It's very simple lyrically. Thank you, Jess. I'm glad you love the stories. That makes two of us, or maybe more than two of us, but thank you for communicating that. Excuse me, the sparkling wine is going to make me burp. Holy moly. Okay, I'll hold this here so people understand why I feel a little light. Woman is the first track. What I was saying is it's very simple lyrically. All the song it just repeats is woman, how many years to become this woman? Roots growing deep in soil, growing a woman, late bloomer all around. So, of all the songs, it is the simplest to I mean, look, I guess to perform or to arrange because there's not much to shift around or figure out where it goes. It's just supposed to be uh, almost a what is it called? Like a chant? Maybe not a chant. Maybe that's not the word I'm going for. But I realized that I started playing it. Um, I usually would pair it with the song "Where Do We Go From Here" when I'd play it live, and then I would like start that song with "Woman" and then end that song with "Woman." And then eventually I started singing Woman by itself, but I would open every set with it. And I think it was my way of calling myself to the stage. So when any of you who are live performers or creatives in any way where you have to come before people with your craft, you want to do it. You've been working, hustling, and desiring and making choices to put you at that point, and then you get there. And at least for me, um, the nerves settle in, and the dialogue in your mind gets a little muddled sometimes, and you might not always have the right people around you to help like draw you back. So I think when I didn't have the people around me, I would use "Woman" as a way to kind of lasso myself in, or oh, what's the word, like tie yourself to the mass. Is that it? What is that from? I know what it's from. Any doubts, any anxieties, any worry that are around the live performance, the people who were there or not there, your instrumentation, the sound tech, whatever the case, all those things, along with all the internal stuff that's already in you when you get to that live performance. "Woman" really helped me just remember like there's been a lifetime of effort and work and people's love and care and prayers, and there's been tragedy that's been overcome, there's been tragedy that's wounded you but you've healed with time in bits and pieces or entirely. You It's been no easy task for you to get here. What makes you think that you can't at the very least remain in this moment and not topple over? And usually by the end of the three, I'm like, yep, here I am. Take it or leave it. Hopefully you don't leave, but yeah. So that's "Woman." That's the story I'll give for "Woman." Keep shaking the computer. The next track off the EP. What do you say, Josh Garrel's Ulysses? Is that what it reminds you of, or the that language? Is that pulled from lyrics in that song? Maybe, probably. The second song is "Him" by her, and I've told this one a lot, but it came out of that song was birthed out of a conversation with my dad sitting in the car. He came to visit me, to visit us in Oregon. And we probably went out for pie. My dad loves pie. I like pie too, but my dad loves pie. And it's been a long road for him, for our family, for me to work through just the years of the crap and hurt and shit, the stuff that came before him, the stuff that was put upon him that he endured and then fleshed out and all that. And we had a really good conversation about some pieces that we had read out of "The Body Keeps the Score." And at that point we hadn't gotten very far, but it was enough to scratch the surface and open up conversations around like temper and anger, and why it comes out the way it does. And do you know, can you know, can you counter it? What feels like a cop out and what's real? And one of the things that he said that really resonated with me, that I understood him, but it also felt very much like he articulated something I felt, was that as you work to address some of those deep-seated hurts that have produced anger, or you've been trained to respond very uh, instinctually with anger, or like defensiveness, or even flight, that as those things are being exposed through conversation or counsel, or just really intentional life and relationships, that they can be picked apart and they can be start to heal. But sometimes there's a big lull time where it's not immediately like, oh, I'm not angry anymore. But for him, he said, I'm not as angry, but I'm sad a lot. And I was in the driver's seat, and I remember thinking, I get that. That makes absolute sense, Dad. And not that I hope that we remain here and that that just becomes the new reality, but I get that. That's real. You're not alone. Um, so yeah, that's Him by Her, or the origin, just kind of giving snippets of the origin. So Jasmine, so tie me to the mast of this whole ship and put me on. Yes, yes, Jazz in the comments. So that's Him by Her. Let's take a sip. Cheers. Maybe I'll take a sip in between each explanation. Whatever you're drinking, you should too. My sips might be 3. Maybe I shouldn't drink sparkling wine like this. Okay, third song. Pull the story. What should I share about that? I don't want to over explain these. Pull the story. I'll just give you a visual. Think of a sweater. Do I have a sweater that looks knitted? Do I have a knitted sweater? No. Maybe I do. Hold on a sec. Why did I think I have a knitted sweater? There's no way I have a knitted sweater. Okay, I don't have a knitted sweater. I probably do somewhere in the guava jelly storage, but I'm not gonna go downstairs. Pretend this is a knitted sweater. Just kidding. Drinking on live streams. This is gonna be the death of me. Um, even though this is not a knitted sweater, which would be provide a more clear visual, this was stitched to like many threads made up this fabric that was sewn together to make this flannel that I got at the Goodwill bins, and smells okay. Pull the story. Here's a visual. If this was all made up of one single thread, which it's not, but if it were, you know when it's a little loose and you're like, ah, it's getting caught and everything, and starts to irritate you because it's brushing up against things or getting snagged and you just can't ignore it anymore. If this whole thing was created or held together by one single thread, is if you pull that little loose thread, inevitably you're going to see a some sort of like movement in the rest of the clothing item. Like you've ever pulled a thread once and watched another part of it go and like scrunch up together, or if you pull it and depending on how it was stitched together, it starts to unravel, and you're it's a little like, oh shoot, I should have just trimmed this and tied a knot off, and like yeah. So pull the story. That's the visual. Cheers. Just kidding. There's more to that, but I want to take another sip. I feel like I might regret this live stream. No, probably not. Pull the story is about the pulling of a thread that you didn't realize was so woven into every part of that flannel. And you pull it because you want to deal with that loose thread, and that loose thread ends up unraveling a lot more. And it all of a sudden seems very necessary because you're like, there's no way like this was going to unravel eventually. Why don't I just initiate it? But then you feel a bit naked when that sweater or that flannel or that shirt, whatever visual is serving you well, starts to shrink or rip open, and you feel exposed because you realize that, yeah, maybe it the undoing was a bit more than you had planned on. Cheers. That's Pull the Story. Okay. I'm very curious. Don't tell me. Just think it really loud. How you were feeling about this live stream. Feels both for both of my episodes. Jez, you are. Well, Sean did, but you are definitely the only one actively, and that's okay. I jumped into this knowing that I had not announced it. It was mainly for me to be able to drink this and mark with whoever showed up and whoever would watch this later that it's quarantine, it's COVID-19, April 2020, and I'm still gonna celebrate this release. Can't really go see people, but I can do this. They can join the party later. Better Metric is the title track. It's the fourth track. When we do the vinyl, um, when we do when the vinyl gets produced, because that's even in pause. Like Memphis record pressing can't open up until the end of April, so for another week. And when they open up, not if, when they open up and the vinyl start getting pressed, the first track on side B is Better Metric. Better Metric is kind of the whole covering, like connective theme between all the songs. Hi, G. um, for those of you who are still here, I'm drinking and talking about the tracks on the EP. Just, I don't know. Some I'm just giving like little brief stories. Others, I'm sure I've confused people more, but that's okay. I'm mainly here to mark this moment. So I'm glad you can join me. Hi, Dia. I'm not really planning on singing tonight. That wasn't the plan, unless it just happens organically. I'm just here to talk and drink. So find your water, coffee, tea, wine, beer, spirits, whatever the case, and get comfortable. But yeah, Better Metric is, it's not even meant to be a, how do I say this? I'm going to talk about what it's not. That's easier than talking about what it is. It's not purely an FU to the world at all. And I say that because it kind of is. But it isn't in the sense of I still care about what people think to an unhealthy degree. I still care about people in a way I believe we humans should pursue growing in and looking out for each other, our neighbors and actual neighbors and not and so forth. I need the feedback and give and take of relationships because I don't believe I have all the answers or all the skills or all the sets to be who I need to be in this world or want to be. So this is not a like everyone hands off what I think what I am is ultimate and best and I don't need anyone. That's not what Better Metric is. Better Metric is coming from a place of having I had a very out of balance um respect for other people's opinions above what I was coming to. So I didn't value my life experience, my research, my brain and heart and intuition enough to be able to identify that when someone did or said something that felt like it went contrary to my being, I'd feel the discomfort. I would even for a split second be like, I don't know about that. But then my mind would immediately jump to, it must be me. I must have sound stupid, or I must have articulated that wrong, or I did it dumb, or I didn't do this. And whereas you do need to be self-reflective and critique yourself to grow, I just never balanced it with, wait a minute, like what about what I offered or brought to the table? What was the value there? Was I really off? Is it completely yes to them, no to me, or could it be a mix? And I just didn't have room for that. Um, Dia, yes, Dia, I am an artist. Feels weird to say that. I make music and things, and I'm just talking about a music release that I just had today. I'm talking about all the songs while drinking. So you're welcome to stick around or go listen to them. If this feels weird, you can go listen to them right now on Spotify or Apple Music or here on my YouTube channel. But back to the Better Metric. It's freedom to live in the world, to pursue other relationship with other people, whether it be work, play, um, romantic, purely friendship, whether they're in your neighborhood or across the other side of the world. It's not saying don't connect and don't seek people out and don't hear them out or don't be changed. Better Metric is saying that there's a lot of things I do know. I don't know a lot, but there are a lot of things. It sounds contrary, but I do know some things, or at least I have a sense about the direction I'm going. So when people come at me And it could be something as small, so silly, but it could be something as small as what's up with your clothing style. And clothes are like, will go to dust in the future, but better metric for me is being able to say, like, do I like them? Yes. Why do I like them? And then going through the reasoning. And if that feels valid, going, then what, part of my language, then fuck it. Like, it doesn't matter because their standards, their what they're fixated on when it comes to style, which is again so not high stakes. It I don't aspire to be what they consider as great or wonderful or acceptable or cool. So why would I let their input diminish me? Like, it's okay for me to say, you can have that. I don't want to look like you. So keep it to yourself. I will live it with mine. So yeah, clothes are easier to talk about because they're kind of lower stakes. Anyways, that's better metric. Cheers. Whatever you're drinking, take a sip. If you know me well enough to send me a message, take a picture of yourself taking a sip of something and send it to me. Even if you don't know me, just make sure you're dressed. Mm-hmm. Cheers. Okay, we made it to track 4, and some of you are still here. That's amazing. Or maybe your computers are on and you're taking a nighttime nap, aka you're sleeping. I'm probably gonna regret this. I'm pouring more. It's a special thing. Okay, 5th track, Great Endeavor. Wrote this I think like 4 years ago. It might be the oldest song. It might be the oldest song on the EP. Um, and I have songs that are older than Great Endeavor that I'm still singing now that still feel relevant. So that's not to say that those older songs won't find their way on future LPs, albums, and so forth. I'll keep Great Endeavor shorter. Great Endeavor is celebrating aging. So I don't know if you feel like you want to comment, whoever's here with me. So I won't pause for it, but feel free to respond to this if you're up to it. Um, what are the aches of aging, and what are the what are the glories of this aging process? Because for me, Great Endeavor, it's mostly I've grown into it, so it's mostly now me as a current Isabeau singing this confidently. When I first wrote it, I meant it, but it was a little bit of a declaring it so that I could get there, if that makes sense. I guess another way of saying it, which doesn't sound as eloquent, is like fake it till you make it. I knew that I meant it, but I was having a hard time believing it. So Great Endeavor is just reminding me that though my body is not what it was, and even though like these lines coming in or the elasticity of my face or my neck is changing, where if I sleep a certain way, I'll wake up and that line will be there probably the whole day. Just another like little hint, like your hands and your hair and your face, and not even in a destructive way, but just observing, whoa, it's crazy to watch it unfold. Most of the time I'm pretty fascinated. Maybe moments of like, oh no, and then whoa, that's I can remember being really young and maybe not a baby, but my dad will always be like, he remembers me as a baby, and to think that I am, this is going to sound like drunk talk, but I mean this, that I'm that baby. That's just inevitable that all of us, no one escapes it. No one escapes aging. So it's amazing to me that we fight it, so the reality of it so aggressively. I guess it does make sense because death's scary. So sorry, that's a little side note. I get why it's scary, and I'm still wrestling with a lot of those pieces. But until I arrive there, I also want to revel in the fact that I know that I feel it's kind of I feel more me now than when I was younger. So I do miss many youthful parts of me, um, physically, relationally, like just the simplicity of certain times. But I mean, not everything was simple. Um, but then I also really want to be in the skin and mind and who I am now. Like I can't imagine. Like I feel a lot of mercy and compassion for my younger self. Um, I guess I'm wrong. No, no, I am. Sorry, I'm reading the comments. It says, love how peaceful you are with your body, embracing all the changes. It is an embrace. I'm human, and I think it's human to say, not every day is 100% all as well. There's a lot of external and internal factors that can come into play that make you, I don't know, second guess it or fear it. But great endeavor overall is just its declaration, a reminder, and a celebration of like you're alive still, and who you are now is the culmination of so many conversations, experiences, loves, hurts, mended. Uh, you've had to grow to get to this point. So growth, an extensive amount of growth has happened. This body of mine, whereas I don't think it's perfect every day, it has carried me through some ridiculous stuff. So when I get frustrated at certain parts, I'm like, Isabeau, she she carried this. Love her better. So that's great endeavor. Cheers to great endeavor. Hi Brenda. I love you too. Yeah. So I it's funny because Dia, I don't know if Dia, if I'm saying your name correctly. I hope it comes across that well, I hope it comes across because I feel much more content in Isabeau now. I don't feel perfect, and every day is not back to that place. So the reaction time between doubt or self-hate or whatever whatever the things that whisper and try to remove you from that peace, I can say that whereas I'm not always at peace with everything, it is a faster reaction time to go from discouragement to, okay, this is what I feel, but this is what I know. So if this is what I feel and this is what I know, that gap used to take me maybe weeks, months, maybe it never got there to get to what I know and then live in that. Now it's I feel really frustrated, doubting myself. I don't like this, I don't like that, I don't like that. And then it's okay, what do you know? What is actually true about this? And then can we get you to that point where you can live out of what you know and not just what you feel? So Valentine Films, what are we drinking? Well, it was what I could get delivered, which is great. I'll take it. I mean, I've been drinking Rainiers, which are actually wonderful. This is sparkling wine, Brut Rosé. I didn't drink all of this. I did give some to Tyson, but I have had quite a bit, which will make the end of this live stream awesome. But the beginning was kind of weird because I was just drinking by myself, which is what all of us are doing at home. I know, but when you live stream what you're doing at home, it makes it feel very not cool. But keep it to yourself. Hi Kundog. Happy EP. Thank you. I'm talking through the tracks, giving little stories to each one of them. I said they were gonna be short. They are relatively short comparative to what I'm going to record later, but I realize that they're not actually short excerpts. They're very Waia'u Hawaiian, long-winded. It is what I am. Um, The Great Endeavor is one of my favorite songs ever. I'm very happy that you love it. Thank you for loving it. I don't have biological children, so apart from my students, former students, and my nephews and nieces, this is the closest thing to having like something be birthed by me. That word felt wrong for this situation. Wish I could take it back. Um, so, like my nephews and nieces, like my siblings, like my students, when someone says your sister or your brother or your nephew or niece or that kid in your class, or that student you were coaching, or even like anyone I'm connected to, your mom, your dad, your friend, when they get praise, I feel praised because I like them, I believe in them, or I've been invested in them enough where if it's a favorite to you, I'm like, good, she did good. Um, the what is it about? Are you talking about Great Endeavor? If you talk about Great Endeavor, that's the song I just explained. It's the fifth and second to last song on the EP. And when this is all done, when this is pow, you can stay here on my YouTube channel and listen to it. Or if you have Spotify or Apple Music, you can find it there, or go to SoundCloud or Bandcamp. I just wanted you to have it. So find it where you can, and then find a way to let me know what you think of it. And if you hate it, find every way not to tell me. I don't need to know that. It won't change anything. Um and then last but not least, let's drink before this one. Also, I'm just curious, are you any of you drinking with me? You don't have to. It's not peer pressure, but are you? Are you drinking with me? On the first run through YouTube. Thank you, Kundong. I said it as a premiere, so last night starting at, or at least Pacific Standard Time, at midnight, Woman was released, and then 12:15, 12:30, 12:45, 1 a.m. So just kind of in 15-minute increments, all the songs were released on YouTube. They were already up on Spotify and Apple Music, but I wanted them because YouTube is where I've been this whole time, even when I wasn't making formal EPs and so forth. And I wanted it to feel special, but I didn't realize that YouTube does like a countdown. I mean, it's just a countdown, but it's crazy how something as simple as that can make the moment feel so special. I don't know. Maybe it was just me. Um, I'll do it later on the stream. Thanks, Dia. I appreciate you taking the time to listen to it. Really. Brenda, I am. You are? Okay, sweet. What are you drinking, Brenda? Water? That's great. I should be drinking more water today. Got a can, but it was empty, so I filled it with water. I also have water. I was going to order pizza, but then it felt like the pizza that I was able to have delivered didn't go well with this. So I chose the sparkling wine over the pizza. And I'll find something to eat after. What I'm saying is I should have eaten before I've been drinking this wine. That's my confession. So now we know Isabel gets really chatty when she drinks. That or sleepy. My rainbow cake. I'm making that after this. Thanks for asking. Actually couldn't find rainbow chip box cake, which is fine. I found yellow cake, which is kind of a funny name for a cake when it's like named after a color, with rainbow chip frosting. So the frosting will make me think that it's the same thing. But in college, I actually, I lived on a very small budget. By very, I mean very small budget. My scholarships, which is such a gift, so glad I was able to get them, covered schooling, but then I didn't really have resources to pay for other stuff. And I'm giving you so many side stories. And because of how much my scholarships brought in, I was denied work study. And I didn't have a car, and I was from an island, and I wasn't comfortable with public transit yet. It was a great cluster of like, uh-oh, I'm gonna need to find a way to work to make money, but I don't have a car, and the places I can walk to, um, like I was trying to get hired at Food for Less off 82nd, but I remember talking to my dad, and the only shifts they had open were like in the middle of the night because it was 24-hour, and understandably, he wasn't stoked about me walking there. I could have learned how to ride the bus. It was just so many mental barriers for me. Anyways, I just decided I'm gonna reduce my living standards, and that way I won't need anything. But then when we celebrated certain things, what I could afford once in a while, for my like group of friends if I wanted to celebrate something big, whatever it be. It could be a birthday, or you like ace that test for that program you were hoping to get into. I would go buy a boxed rainbow chip cake and the rainbow chip frosting and make those, and we would sit and we would eat it in the dorms. So it still feels very special. Tastes good. I like it. Probably shouldn't eat too much of it. Get sick. Um, Water and Oregon Rose. Cool. I hope it'll be available on CD and old fashioned like that. Kundog, I am doing digital release and then a vinyl. So I won't have CDs, but I will have the vinyl as soon as the record pressing company. They're supposed to open at the beginning of May, which means probably at the end of May I'll get them, because I was supposed to get them like now, but coronavirus, life changes. Excuse me. Hi Jorge. How have I been? Jorge is a former student of mine, so this is gonna feel weird to this, but I've been doing well, Jorge. I'm drinking wine, well, sparkling wine. I know you're gonna have a comment about that. I'm celebrating my EP release. I feel very good. Feel a little anxious, but the anxiety is more just around like a lot of the things I think I would have been doing to mark this moment I can't do. So I've tried to find replacements for it, just so that I could celebrate it. Um, so I feel really good. I'm glad it's out. I'm glad it's gonna find its people. I'm happy about it. I think the nervousness is just knowing it can't be for everyone. So I feel good about that. Um, that feels like very true to me. Is also it terrifies me because I know it can't be for everyone. So there are gonna be people who are like, meh, it's and I don't know many people who that wouldn't affect in some way, even if they didn't admit to it. So yeah, I feel good. A little weird. Um, I wish I could celebrate this with people in person, but this. Thank you for joining me in this. Uh, See, I know, Jorge. I knew you would say that. Hi, Kendall. So I'm walking through the songs, giving some stories about them, and I'm drinking my sparkling wine in between. I have one more song, and then I will go drink this bottle in the living room with my cake. So, someone told me to put this in my cake batter. Is that a real thing, or are they pranking me? I have never thought to do that. I mean, I know I could just Google it, but I'm curious. Have any of you done that? Let me know. Thomas Lou, do you listen to any podcasts? You talk about your emotions really well. Reminds me of some of my former mentors. I don't. It's gonna sound like I said I don't listen to podcasts. I do. I haven't, because this is weird. I'm just realizing I haven't followed one podcast aggressively, other than my friend Dan Cable. Um, I don't think there's any one podcast that I've listened to like religiously, but I do read and listen. So whereas I'm not listening to like one person every day, every week when they release an episode, um, I do go hunting for people who have walked the walk and talked the talk and try to figure out like what how do they know what they know, and does it confirm and affirm where I'm at, or does it challenge me to think differently about it? So I hope that answers that. Jasmine, nah, but can make cookies from the box. Can you just use less oil or something? Or I can make cake pops. Like people make a cake and then they tear it up. It's cool. I get it. Like it's so aesthetically pleasing to see the cake pop finished. But every time I watch like a little tutorial on YouTube or Instagram, there's always a part of me once they take the cake out of the oven and then they just destroy the cake and add more like frosting or like a sugar substitute to make it like moist again so they can ball it up. I keep thinking like, is there a faster way to get to this than to bake the cake and then mess up the cake? Can we get to that same consistency without having to bake it? Why am I spending time talking about this? I'm sorry. Oh, it's because we were talking about cake. It was cool hearing your songs. Bells and Whistles really great, and hope to catch you in some live space. Thank you. I'm really I am really pleased about it. It feels like the right fit because I wanted to have a band on these songs, but I haven't always felt equipped to communicate what I want, to make it, to push the songs, to draw them out, but not to shift them so drastically where anyone who's followed me maybe on YouTube for years is gonna go, it's not just different, it's not her. I wanted it to be different. But I wanted it to be identifiably like me. Um, so I'm glad that you loved it. I love it too. That is one thing I'll be sad about. We were gonna have the release show at the Alberta Street Pub, and Ryan, Andrew, and Nick, who played on the project on the EP, we were gonna do the live set with the whole band. So I was kind of terrified because I haven't done that in a live setting in a long time, but was just ready to show myself and to offer up to others the music with all the pieces added in. Um, that can't happen, but Ryan will still be doing a solo set at for the live stream for the release on May 9th, and Jacob will be doing it, and then after my set we'll collaborate on a few songs. So it won't be exactly what we were planning, but it will be something distinctively different than the live streams I've been doing here on YouTube or Facebook or Instagram. So I hope you guys can make it to that. Dream Big Bow. Seriously, got all the. You know what's funny, Jazz? Is my little cursor was covering part of the word for things, and I thought it said, I thought your comment read, "Dream big, Bo. Seriously, you've got all the thighs." I was like, you know what? I do have thighs. No, no, not gonna stand up, but I do. Like every human, I have thighs, or many humans. Um, but you said things. Thank you. Okay, last song. Ordinary Days. You've got all the thighs. Uh, I don't think I have like one story for this. I can give you pieces. Not this past summer, but the summer before in August, Ty and I went on a road trip down the 101 south towards California and stopped at all these little beach towns. And I mean, I'm thinking about these things all the time, so I'm not even gonna say like I didn't see one thing and go, ah, and it's gonna make me sound dark, but I think about ends, like the end of things, moments, but all the way up to like life. I guess I think about death often, but not most of the time. It's not like a fearful. It's just, you know, would this matter to me if I knew I was going to die? Kind of stuff. Anyways, what poked at me to first think of it, but it was just because I wrote it and I recorded it. I remember in our Airbnb. So if you look on YouTube for Ordinary Days, the first recording of it was right after I finished writing it. And it was just, I don't think it's anything superbly unique lyrically, but just that tragedy isn't. It is tragedy because it catches you by surprise, and it catches you by surprise because most of the time the most grievous things happen, or much of the time. Most of the time feels like quite a big claim. Much of the time, they are so breathtaking and knock the air out of you and take you out the knees because it was just any other. I feel like the dialogue I've heard post that tragedy is, I was just talking to this person, like I just called them, or we just went out, or we were just having a meal together, or we just argued about, I don't know, whether that team won or not, or whether they should talk to mom or not. Like all these, most of our lives are just ordinary moments woven together, which isn't bad. I think we've diminished the value of ordinary. It's all these ordinary moments, and then for whatever reason you believe that tragedy hits, whether it's just happenstance, accident, bad luck, or that it's a building of things that are like a ripple effect. It's a part of the tragedy is that you couldn't plan on it. Like it was just a blind side. Is that a weird thing to think about on a vacation road trip? Yep, it is. That's where Ordinary Days came from. But if you search in YouTube, I'm pretty sure that the first version of it I sang in the Airbnb. So it's going to sound different too because it was like the probably the fifth time I've sang it all the way through. Um but like most of my songs, I know I'm like calling it all bright gloom. I'm not trying to tie it up with a sweet bow so that it's less painful, but I do mean it is really true for me that my hope or my feeling of being not alone, which creates a sensation of community and warmth and a sense of belonging, for me comes from the honesty of songs that recognize that things can be tough. Like I don't feel safe when I think or feel like someone is projecting that it's all going to be okay when I know that the facts show that it's not going to be all okay. And I also don't I'm not saying that we need to always be spiraling. That's not helpful. I don't want to just always be like, it could go wrong. We could all die. Because the truth is, we all are going to die. Duh. But sorry, that's a sparkling wine. Um, but when things are tough, it is more comforting for me. Let's say in the midst of difficult things, whatever they are on the spectrum, whether it's like life threatening or it's a little uncomfortable, it's easier for me to get to a place of what can I do to change it? What can I do to support myself or others or grow from this or give myself time to heal? I can get there faster if I or others who are involved can say, I'm doing a Barack Obama on accident. Um, if or others who are involved can say, this is tough, this is uncomfortable, painful, scary. I know this, but I don't know this. This is terrifying. Uh, that makes more sense to me. I don't feel crazy and I go, oh, okay. So we're all feeling this way. What can we do to lean in and what can we change? What do we just have to wait on? You know? Anyways. Ordinary Days, the last track on the EP. Thanks for listening to that. Let's see the comments. Jorge. Oh, Jorge, is it because I'm seeing in the comments that your friend is saying that she can't come and hang out, and I'm assuming that it has to do with quarantine. Yes, so it's I know that's very painful. I feel that. I'm sure everyone in here is feeling that to a degree of feeling isolated, disconnected from their people. Um, sometimes that feels nice. Sometimes that feels horrible. So you're not alone. You're right in that it does suck. Um, but her making those boundaries with you is not because she doesn't care about you. It's because she cares about her family and she cares about you. So she cares about you, is what I'm hearing. Um, is it NYC Brad, I'm guessing? Your cover state lines. Thank you. I'm glad you like it. I'm glad I did it some sort of justice. Hi, John. Okay. So I've nearly talked and drank for an hour, celebrating this EP. Can't believe that this is going to go up on my YouTube channel. People are going to be like, what the hell? But I'm so grateful that you guys have joined me. Do you have any questions or comments before I down this last bit and send you on your merry way? If so, I'll wait for a moment to answer them or engage them. And if not, you can go make cake or find yourself a drink. Jorge, when will this is over? Crystal goes to school. That's where she can. Oh, I see. I know that's disappointing for you. It sounds like her family's trying to do as much as they can to take care of themselves and to make sure that she has what she needs school wise to be on board. So, because she's not graduating, you're graduating, right, Jorge? I know I'm talking to Jorge. Jorge, where are you, Jorge? Uh, She if she's not a senior, she doesn't have the luxury of being done. So she still has to stay in like student high school mode. Yeah. Was this journey release hard? Uh I suppose a little. Not life threatening hard. Thanks for the question, Brenda. Um I think as soon it was difficult beforehand because I mean just down to figuring out how to strategize my time and resources. So from actual time to scheduling time in the studio to having the resources money wise to secure that time in the studio to find the supporting musicians to come in, the right musicians to come in and support the songs and play on the songs. So it wasn't impossible, but it's just not a task that I have like done often in that way. So it felt like the learning curve was huge, and I think what made it not discouraging is I approached it like that. Like I knew that I'm gonna do this again. So I'm going to watch and listen and ask questions and do this to the best of my ability for this project with the intent of releasing it with as much excellence as possible with the plan of mimicking the best parts of it with future projects and releases. So prior to coronavirus, the biggest budget of time was just like my energy and my money because I was um, still playing out live quite a bit in Portland. I was traveling with Ila Bamba. Like today, this release, I was supposed to be in Vegas with the band. So even these on here. Oh, I show you my calendar. It's bittersweet looking at the calendar that I had created beforehand. Like I had mapped out, I don't know if you can see all the planning that I'd done with recording and the vinyl I did during like Christmas and January before I came back to Portland. And then I had an outline like that tour. And then when I came back, like Patreon, this is the blues, like Patreon releases, workshops and live shows I was doing with friends, um, gigs, and oh, I just realized this one said Tiny Desk recording session. I'll pull it off. Um, gig, 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 Tiny Desk entries due, patrons get full album. And then the coronavirus, when it hit, it was just a realization of like, well, some of these things can still happen and I can give more time to it. So that's not so crazy. Like I can spend all this time on these projects. But then all the live shows that were building up to it, the touring, like that's all gone. So I gave myself a little bit of time to be sad and disappointed because that's real. I don't think that's fair to say that someone can't be sad and disappointed. And then it was like, okay, here's the deal, Isabeau. The release is still happening. You want to give it its best shot. What can you do with what you have and be excited about? So then it turned from like, there's a bunch of things in here where I crossed them off. I'm like, was going to be here, was going to be doing this, but now it's going to look like this. It's going to look like this. And yeah, so pre-coronavirus, I would have not been in Oregon, and I would have been hopefully like posting about this, but then also playing with the band. And I was supposed to get back like the middle of this upcoming week, and then it would immediately shift gears to preparing for a couple shows I was going to do with Jacob, and then we were going to do the release show, and you know, it's weird. It's a completely other reality. Hey, Aaron, did I learn anything? I think Koondog, I think I kind of answered that. Just I learned a lot about my communication style. I learned a lot about my desire for the shape of my songs and what sounds suit it well and draw it out. And I learned that I could experiment in front of people and not die, not like combust in front of them. And I learned that a lot of the skills that I've learned over the years in my other career and my other work that I could put them towards this release. And I didn't have a label or promo professionals to help me with it, but that I could rally the people I had and the resources and skills I had and pull something off. So I'm not calling it perfect, but I'm proud of myself for remaining flexible and then not letting it crush it, but just redirecting. So yeah. Dia, how often do you live stream? I don't want to miss it. So prior to the release, I was doing Tuesdays and Thursday mornings at 10:30 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, and it's just really chill. Like I have to reiterate that it's not a set list. Um, just music and chatting, and that's in the mornings on Instagram. And then I'm trying to stick to Sunday evenings on YouTube here, music and chatting, but much more music than I didn't do any music tonight. And then I've done some live streams with others. Like today, right before this, I was on Facebook with the Sofa Music Festival. I got like 20 minutes in before my Facebook Live started glitching. So I did like 3 versions of it, which is weird. But yeah, that. So Dia, join us next Sunday. And if you're on Instagram, you can find me. I'm at Bobo Barina. I'll put that here. Bobo Barina. We can pin it. That's Tuesdays and Thursdays. And then tomorrow night, Jorge, who's in this chat, I don't know if you guys are looking at the chat. Jorge is a former student of mine. And I've been the last few weeks on Monday evenings at 7 p.m. I've been interviewing former students, some who are still in high school, some who are like parents and have many children. Life's crazy. But interviewing them just about life in this new version. So it was originally was like, how do you feel about the coronavirus? How's it affected you? And it's still kind of that, but I know they're so far into it that they've been answering those questions. So a lot of it's just like, what now? What do you think is shifting, changing in you? Or what's the topic that means the most to you? Ooh. I don't know if there's one. Maybe I'm just being lazy by saying that. Maybe there is one. I'll have to think around that, Jazz. Maybe there's one that encompasses all the things that matter to me, like that rises to the top. But I don't know if it's like it's not a topic, but if someone were to listen, sing along with, dance to, I don't know, my songs aren't like super dancey, danceable, but if you were to listen to the song and say, like, like me too, or and not just me too, like I've processed that, but just that there would be a part of you that articulated, whether it was audibly or internally, if you felt found out in a safe way, that would make me happy. Like if you felt less alone. That's it. Hi, Bruce. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Appreciate you listening to it. Sound guy book, coronavirus coming slow. That's interesting. Sorry, I'm reading comments. I didn't totally understand that one. Coon dog. It's great. Cool. How do the songs find their own path once you start recording them with others? Yeah, no, I know. That was the hope, is I want these songs to evolve. uh I want them to have like a directed evolution. Like I didn't want them. I've done the road where you say you're pro, you're better than me. Here are the songs, do your thing, and they do amazing work because they're so skilled and talented. But we weren't on the same wavelength. So whatever they turned it into, it's not like it sounds bad, but it's made such a it's too far from who I am. That's not really like precise speech, but this felt good because it felt like a growing experience for, I mean, I know a lot of it's because I'm older and I just have had good and bad experiences that have really shaped the way I approach these things and what I ask for and what I don't get hung up on. And um, so it's not just that I've worked with in the past has been very good at what they do. Maybe we just weren't the best fit altogether or for that time or season. So it felt really good to find people who would be ambitious with it and respect that I was doing work to try to guide it, and that I wanted to guide it, and that I might not know how to guide it all the time, but but I meant to, and that they were ready to hear it and receive it. So, um, Dawn, hey guys, Dawn is my sister. Just jumping in real quick to say I love you. I'm so proud of you. Back to babies. I love you. I'm so impressed by how you take care of your babies. I love you. Jazz, lovely answer. Feeling less alone. Yay! That's what I'm talking about. I know that's kind of open ended, but I think that's it's the it. It's the only thing I think right now at the top of my head that encompasses everything I want to communicate, because my topics are not always going to be this or that. But bottom line, if someone could, yeah, feel less alone. Cece, I don't know if you're still here. I'm pouring more wine. I won't drink this in front of you all, mainly because I'm not really sure what will happen to me, and I don't want it documented online. I'm proud of you, Tommy. What do you mean, Tommy? One thing, Walker. I hope you don't feel convertible. Jorge, let me know. You can message me after, Jorge, and let me know what you meant by convertible. I'm not really sure what you meant by that. Okay. Yep. Thanks for joining me. Cheers. Oh, I don't like how creepy my finger looked. Hi, Zion Guy. Cheers. Cheers to you. Whether it's because you're actually drinking something and you listen to the EP, or because you've made it through this live chat. So impressed. Oh, thanks, Jorge. So, uh, what is there? Are there things to come? Yes. So this Wednesday, upcoming Wednesday, the 29th, the Better Metric music video. I don't know if you've seen it on like Instagram. Patrons have it already on my Patreon account, but it will go live on YouTube on the 29th. And then every day following that, I will release an order of the track, order of the EP, a cover by one of my friends. Friday, the cover of Him by Her by Luz will go out on YouTube. And then Saturday is Pull the Story by Anna Gilbert, a cover by Anna Gilbert and Alison Segura. Sunday is a cover of Better Metric by Dorota and Stealth. And then Monday is a cover of Great Endeavor by Brandon Hampton. And then Tuesday, did I get it right? Yeah, Tuesday to last but not least, Ordinary Days will be covered by my friend Josh Lane. So the next week, the music will continue, but primarily here on YouTube. And then next week, Sunday, I'll see you guys here if you're here. I'm just stoked that it's there. Now it's for you. I hope it lands well. Um, Thank you, Dia. Thank you, Kundal. Yogurt meat. That's crazy. I know. Just finished work. New Zealand. Cheers with beers. Cheers, everyone. Thanks for hanging out with me. Um, that's like a comfortable sized party if you have like a small living room. Oh no, 13. Okay. Now the party's ending. Just kidding. Okay, everyone sip your water, your beer, your cheers. That was a big sip. I'm gonna get some food in my system. I appreciate you all. Let me know what you think of the songs another time if you have other thoughts. And yeah, good to see you. Bye.